up in Provo and played at Timpview High School. My dad was a coach there, so I watched all the Timpview teams growing up. It was great, and it's tough at the same time, you know. I mean, I'd seen him for a lot of years. I mean, when I was in elementary school, as soon as elementary was over, I'd go over to the gym and shoot around and watch all these guys. So I knew what I was getting into a little bit, you know, when I went to Timpview. Yeah, I played at Dixie College. At that time it was Dixie, now it's Utah Tech. Dave Rose, who was a former coach at BYU, was the head coach there, along with Ken Wagner. And the connection with Ken Wagner is he was the head coach at Lehi in the 80s. And then he was the head coach at Dixie, and then he was head coach at BYU Hawaii. So I played there for 2 years, then played at Wagner College in New York for a couple years. Yeah, Frank was a Mr. Basketball. We had some other guys, Tyler Haas and Nick Emery and TJ Haas, actually Jackson Emery. We had a bunch of guys who got it there. We had a kid named Bracken Funk, who's now the voice of the University of Utah running Utes basketball. He was one of my favorites, but there's a lot of guys there I love coaching. You know, I was really fortunate. I was under a number of really good coaches, starting with, you know, like Ken Wagner at BYU Hawaii, and then I played under some coaches, you know, at Wagner. One guy who's now the color commentator for the Nets, and another guy who's been a head coach in a number of places back east. But you know, you just kind of take a little bit from all these guys, you know, and it helps you hopefully to be better, kind of add to your own coaching game. It would have been 2005. We had Jackson Emery, so Nick's older brother, and he was the guy who started with Jimmer Fredette, you know, through that whole stretch, and those two that was kind of the guard line, but Jackson was a heck of a player. But we won it in 2005. That was the first one. You know what? You know, when we started in the spring, the way we were playing against teams around the state, I felt like we were maybe somebody who was a little bit under the radar, you know, in the state. But I felt like by the time we got through June that we were as good or better than anybody. And then I wasn't surprised by what we did, you know, during the season, you know. And I mean, maybe you are surprised you beat AF by 20 or whatever at their place, but I wasn't surprised that we were beating them, that we were beating Corner Canyon. I just kind of felt like we had a really tight-knit group and some tough guys, and it was a good team. That was, you know, it was great. You know, it was my favorite state championship, you know. You watch him come through 4 years at Lehi, and with a great bunch of guys with him, and it was just really fun to watch the whole thing develop. You know, I'm really excited about being the athletic director here, you know, at Lehi, and now having even a little bit more time now to be able to do it. And we have so many great coaches and programs here, and so many athletes who are doing great things. And you know, my job is just to help support them and you know, help give some guidance when needed. You know, but I'm just excited to be a part of it. And so, you know, for right now, that's what we got going. And you know, Lehi is, as we know, Lehi is a great place to be.